Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bogey Proof. We got Erik and Mike checking in for a little recap of our couple days in Pinehurst. Erik was lucky enough to, make a quick little trip down here to Pinehurst, a pilgrimage of sorts, as we call it, kind of, for us who love the golf and love Pinehurst. Erik, where you dialing in from, and are you sipping on anything tonight?
I'm back home in Charlottesville. Nice to be back, but definitely missing Pinehurst already. And tonight I am sipping on just some grapefruit seltzer water. I gotta get ready for what's going to be a long week of work here, starting early tomorrow morning. So, no alcohol for me tonight. How about yourself, Mike?
I'm on week 3 here in Pinehurst of our 6.5 week experiment. Just living the golf life 24/7, working a little bit on the side to fund my habits and my vices here, but sipping on a little Blade and Bow, which you happen to bring, when you're coming from Charlottesville down here to Pinehurst. So a nice little bourbon. Could you tell me a little bit about it? I know, we put a pretty good dent into it, so clearly it's some quality stuff, but what do you know about, Blade and Bow?
Yeah, Blade and Bow. Obviously, it's a great bottle of bourbon. Just the taste of it. It's a really neat bottle. The Similar to Blanton's, you can kind of collect these little keys that are kind of waxed into the top of the bottle, and there's a little story behind the key. So the distillery itself is in Louisville, Kentucky, and there are, I believe, either 5 or 7 different keys that you can collect, and the keys are actually replicas of actual keys to get into the old distillery. The old distillery is built inside of an old church building in Louisville. So pretty cool little story there. It's not nearly as rare or hard to find as, say, like a Blanton's is, but it's cool. And any time that any sort of bourbon or anything has a story like that behind it.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And now that I have my first key, I'm well on my way to collecting the remaining keys, and definitely think any bourbon or any kind of booze in general that has a little bit of a story behind it and a little bit of an allure, just makes it fun, and it makes the talking piece. And lucky enough to have you bring it down here, but now I'm kind of on my own journey with Blade and Bow. So very tasty, sipping on that tonight. It's tough. It's Tuesday night here when we're recording this, but bourbon, there's never a bad time for bourbon. So kind of give us a rundown on, why you came down for a couple days, kind of, what were the things you wanted to hit here in Pinehurst, and did you kind of check all your boxes in a day and a half trip?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, day and a half trip. So it really kind of we blinked and we were already back on our way home, but was able to make the trip down and bring a couple of my friends here from Charlottesville, Adam and Evan, who hadn't ever been to Pinehurst before. And both of them too are also a little newer into golf in general. So it was really the goal of the trip was to be able to just kind of share Pinehurst and what we love about Pinehurst with them, even though it was just kind of a day and a half trip. So I would say the biggest goal and what we were most looking forward to was kind of that first day we were there, just walking around the resort property and showing them the Payne Stewart statue and the hallway with all the US Open and USGA championship kind of memorabilia, and just kind of exploring with them and letting them kind of take it all in, standing there looking at the 18th green of course number 2 and watch people hit shots into there while we're walking around. And that was what I was most looking forward to, is kind of just, like I said, sharing Pinehurst with them. Not that Pinehurst is anything that we own, but you and I, obviously you're there for 6 weeks right now. This was my 5th time to Pinehurst. It's a place that is special to us. And I loved that I was able to bring a couple of my friends there for their first trip. So that first day, after we walked around for a little while, we had lunch right there at the Deuce, the kind of like pub tavern style place right overlooking the 18th green of course number 2. And right when we were wrapping up lunch, that's when you met us there, Mike, and had ourselves a pretty great afternoon out on the cradle at Pinehurst. And we were able to do 2 loops on the cradle, had a few cocktails along the way. And I mean, the weather was perfect. We really got a perfect day for what we were hoping to do. And had a group of 5 out there, and the cradle is just about the most fun you're ever going to have anywhere on a golf course, I would say. And we definitely did so.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you hit it right on the head. Just kind of the presence of Pinehurst and kind of being on the grounds itself is a unique experience in itself. And, been down here for a couple of weeks with my buddy Scott, who is my roommate down here. And, we hadn't had an opportunity to spend any time on the resort yet. We've been playing some golf elsewhere. And I mean, we drive past it every single day, multiple times a day, but really hadn't gone onto property yet. So that was fun too, to, Scott and I showed up and, met you guys kind of when you were finishing lunch, and just to walk around and be around the pro shop and everything that goes into Pinehurst. And, Scott just said, hey, like, you can just tell it's a special place the minute you get out of your car in the parking lot. And, the no golf like through traffic in the croquet area. And
croquet traffic only.
Yeah, croquet traffic only. So I know you took a picture of that, so hopefully you save that one down, and we can post that at some point. But yeah, just that aspect. And I think Pinehurst does such a good job being unassuming in the fact of, like, you park your car and you walk up and no one really bothers you. Like, there's not people waiting for you at your car, like asking you what tea time you have or anything like that. And I think that just adds to the comfortability factor of enjoying Pinehurst, and it just plays into it even more, like what the cradle is. You go to the Pine Cone, the bar right there that looks over the cradle, and you get yourself a drink. You hit a couple practice shots if you want, and it's just really unassuming, and it's so much fun. And people respect the game and they get out there and they wear their golf clothes, but realistically, like, I could see people out there with like t-shirts and shorts on and their flip-flops and out there just enjoying the cradle. Like, it's really exactly what you're saying. It's just like kind of pure bliss, and you get out there and there's nothing difficult about the golf course by any means, but you still get up and you hit a golf shot and you're intrigued and you're thinking about the slopes, and the putts are fast and whatever. And it's just the perfect kind of mix between getting that little golf aspect, but also just enjoying the afternoon more so than anything else. And I think we did it exactly that, and enjoyed the cradle. And then we kind of moved on, went downtown a little bit. Pinehurst downtown, I'm not sure I'd really call it a downtown, but it's got
a
some
village,
old,
Mike. It's a village.
You're right. It's Pinehurst Village. Exactly. So, we sat down there and had a bite to eat after, a nice day in the sun and a couple cocktails. And then we kind of just enjoyed ourselves Sunday night. I was working Monday, so definitely wasn't in the best shape Monday morning after quite a bit of drinking. Also wild. The guy that just gave us a 12-pack of Corona in the parking lot.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there when it happened, so why don't you give us a little refresh of how that went down?
Yeah. So, a mere maybe 10 minutes after we saw you at Deuce's when you were finishing up, and we're walking out to the car, we're about to grab our wedges and our putter to play the cradle, and this guy's packing up his golf travel bag in the parking lot. A very common scene at Pinehurst, especially with buddies trips. They're all packing up and getting in the van and headed to the airport, whether they're headed to Raleigh or Charlotte or, possibly if they have a private jet, Moore County Airfield. But he had a case of Corona in his, in the back of his rental car or whatever it was. And then he was packing his travel bags. Like, I can't fit these beers. Like, so he grabbed one beer out of it for his roadie for the airport, and he just gave me the box of 12 Coronas. So it worked out great. We didn't have to go to the store and get any more beers. So we had the bourbon, Corona, and a few kind of, stragglers that I had lying around, a couple IPAs, a couple fruity ales, stuff like that. So it was just a tremendous start to my day. You go to Pinehurst and you're going to get some good golf and you're going to have a good time, but you don't always walk away with, $15 worth of booze that you get to enjoy after Pinehurst. So that was just a great way to start my, my first time really at the resort here after a couple of weeks of being down here.
Yeah, I would say too that Evan was extremely appreciative of the Corona donation. He enjoyed those thoroughly on Sunday night. They didn't get incredibly cold by the time we were ready to drink them, so Evan was just pouring them over some ice, Corona on ice, and they hit the spot for sure.
Yeah, no, maybe that could be the next drink. Maybe I'm wondering if maybe you froze, like you made some ice cubes with a little bit of lime juice or something in them.
Ooh.
And put those in the over, Coronas over ice. Maybe we found something, who knows? But
Oh
so I'm
yeah,
thinking that if some guy just hands me a 12 pack of Corona again, that's what I'm going to do.
I
But
like it.
give us a little give us some insight on. I know you guys played 5 on Monday afternoon. Give us a little insight on kind of the morning. I know you guys went out to breakfast and did a couple of things while I was working. What were you guys doing? And then how was the golf course as well? I saw you guys on the 9th green. Not your best showing by any means, but you striped one off 10. So that was good to see as well.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of the 9th green, we had to get out there and scout it a little bit the night before. Your condo is perfect walking distance right over to the 9th green of course number 5. So I think it was right around
ninth green at 9, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
exactly. The 9th green at 9. It was right around, I think it was right around 8, but we'll call it 9 just for the sake of things. And yeah, we took a walk over there with our putters and a glass of bourbon and putted around for a good like 20 minutes or so, and kind of got to scout out the 9th green a little bit ahead of time. The pin wasn't in the same spot on Monday, but it was fun to kind of just get out there and putt around a little bit in the dark. But yeah, Monday morning we woke up and we had planned to go down again to the Pinehurst Village to get some breakfast. Originally, I wanted to go to the harness track diner for breakfast on Monday, but they're closed on Mondays, so that'll have to be saved for another time. Still haven't made it to the harness track restaurant yet, but we went to the Villager Deli, kind of just a tiny little breakfast spot in the Pinehurst Village. Pretty traditional diner food, and had a good breakfast after, like you said, a long night of drinking. We needed a nice big breakfast. That's definitely what we had. And then our tee time wasn't until 1:50 in the afternoon on Monday on course number 5. So we had plenty of time to kill. And I had wanted to show Evan and Adam both Mid Pines and Pine Needles as well. Another one of our favorite spots in Pinehurst, and wanted to make sure that they were able to see those 2 spots as well. So took the drive over to Mid Pines and Pine Needles, and kind of just same thing that we did at the Pinehurst Resort when we got there on Sunday. We just really kind of just walked around and took it in a little bit, watched a few people hit their first tee shots at both Mid Pines and Pine Needles, because the first tees are kind of like right there in the middle of everything on both properties. So yeah, that was cool. Walked through the locker rooms at Mid Pines, and talked a little bit about like U.S. Women's Open and stuff that's coming up at Pine Needles next year, I believe. So it's cool to kind of walk around over there. I hadn't been to Pine Needles since we were in college. I didn't make it over across the street to Pine Needles back in the fall. So fun again.
They got a really cool locker room. They have a really cool downstairs area.
Yeah, I wasn't like exactly sure where to go, so we didn't really walk around too much inside at Pine Needles. We kind of walked all over the place inside at Mid Pines. But yeah, I can imagine that their locker room is pretty awesome, just given the championships and stuff that they host over there. And then yeah, leaving Mid Pines and Pine Needles, Adam was like, "Oh, I need to get a golf glove," and we were like, "Okay, well, we've got some time to kill. Let's find just like a local golf shop. I'm sure there's a local golf shop. We'll go get you a golf glove." And we found this place called Robert's Golf Shop in Aberdeen, North Carolina, about 10 minutes from Mid Pines and Pine Needles. And let me tell you, it was maybe the best decision of Monday. This place had probably 300 used putters. And I mean, some of them were a sight to see. Like one of them looked like you just like took a brick and put it on the end of a broomstick and called it a putter. That had probably like 15 or 20 like old school ping answer putters. A lot of kind of like the bullseye style old putters. Just really like any old putter that you can imagine. They had multiple of. And it was fun. We spent probably 20 or 30 minutes in this locally owned golf shop just messing around with all sorts of putters and having fun. And I know Joey was a little jealous on him. We know how much he loves his putters. He's got like 10 or 15 putters himself. And I think he'll be making a stop at Robert's Golf Shop on his way back down through whenever that may be. And then, yeah, after Roberts, we went over to the back over to the resort and really kind of just took our time warming up for our round of golf. So played course number 5. So for those of you that don't know, courses number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all start out of the main clubhouse of the Pinehurst Resort, whereas courses 6, 7, 8, and 9 all are kind of a little satellite locations throughout Pinehurst, 1, 2, 3 miles from the main resort. So playing course number 5, we were able to start out of the main clubhouse, which also was one of my goals in going down on this trip with Adam and Evan. Having never been to Pinehurst before, it's really a cool experience to warm up for your round of golf on the main big Pinehurst Resort range and the practice green and the short game area and everything. And even when you get there, you drop off your clubs and your clubs disappear until you're ready to play, really, and kind of walk down that staircase right next to the golf shop into this like caddy pen golf cart kind of staging area, and drive your golf carts out from underground. And it's really just a cool experience to from start to finish, minus the actual 18 holes of golf. So that was one of my goals as well on this trip with Adam and Evan in their first time in Pinehurst. But yeah, we kind of took our time just warming up for our round of golf. We did one spin around the Thistledew, the putting course out at Pinehurst Resort together. And I mean, we had some interesting putts and stuff on Sunday in the Cradle. Mike, the Thistledew pins on Monday were bananas.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, it was like the 6th or 7th hole, probably 30-foot putt straight downhill, with a big kind of like knob behind the pin that you could almost play as like a backboard. Mm-hmm. And Adam and Evan both hit their putts, both hit pretty good ones that kind of rolled up the knob a little bit and came back down and settled within, I don't know, 5 or 8 feet of the pin. So I go try to take the same method of attack and hit a little too firm. Got up on top of the knob there and fell over the backside of the knob and all the way off the green. And we're talking probably 120 feet I had coming back.
Yeah, it's by no means a green you're warming up for your round on.
No.
It is a putting course and is truly a putting course.
Yeah.
I haven't done it too much. It's relatively new. I would say a few years old, kind of the same time they did the Cradle. And I've really only done it kind of in the afternoons and then like tried to find like 1 or 2 flat putts when, you're trying to warm up for your round out of the resort there. But yeah, very, very cool. And like definitely one of those ones where you kind of just need a beer and you kind of just need to not take it serious and, just get your imagination working a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's definitely what we were doing. We were trying to find the alternate routes to every hole because they don't just randomly throw the pins out there. The Thistledew, the green itself was designed by Gil Hans, who designed the Cradle as well. And you can definitely tell that it's strategically designed with a lot of these slopes and stuff that you can, if you want to, there's 2 or sometimes 3 routes to the hole on each putt. It makes it fun. You can start a putt 30 feet out wide and kind of let it trickle down there, or it's fun. You can get creative with some of it. And like you said, it's really just, it's a putting course. You're not going out there to grind. You grab a beer and there's cup holder stands on every hole to be able to put your drink down. So that's definitely what it's meant for. Yeah, after that, we went out and played course number 5. I had never played course number 5 before. I think you played it once your senior year of school, and it was fun. Greens were in awesome shape. The golf course itself was in great shape as well. It's there's only 3 par 3s and 3 par 5s, so 12 total par 4s on the golf course. So we're able to hit a lot of drivers and kind of just have fun. That was one of my biggest takeaways was you can go out there and it's not going to kick your butt like a lot of Pinehurst courses are. It's pretty forgiving everywhere. And like I said, you're out there hitting a lot of drivers and can miss it here and there by a fair amount and find your golf ball and still be able to play it. So it was really just a fun round of golf, a good kind of end to the trip. I would say if I were to play course number 5 again, I would probably want to play it as like the first round on a trip, maybe when I'm playing like 3 or 4 rounds. Nice little warm up, get out there to be able to hit some drivers, hit some mid irons and stuff like that, and not have to get my butt kicked and be exhausted for the rest of the trip. So those are some of my biggest takeaways from playing course number 5. In course number 5 too, you're driving down. What's the road that kind of goes right through the cradle and course number 5?
It's called like Beluah. It's Beluh. It's like
So
yeah.
If anyone is interested in hitting a car with a golf ball off of the 18th tee at a Pinehurst course number 5 will give you that opportunity. I came very, very close. My golf ball ended up, I think, on the railroad tracks there across the street. So
that's 18. I think they changed the routing because that's 18. I think for a while that was maybe like number 1.
Yeah, that looks like it looks like it could be number 1. But yeah, number 1 is down there. You drive all the way down along the railroad tracks and cross at that stoplight. And number 1 is a short dog leg right, kind of right there off to the left.
Yep. Yeah, that was number 2, only a few years ago. So they've kind of adjusted that routing, which kind of makes sense. I think with the overall traffic that goes on with the cradle, it's a little bit difficult to have everyone kind of crossing right there. So dictate everyone kind of out that back end practice facilities, and then just push them out there, and then start of 4 is over there, and start of 1 is over in that direction as well. But yeah, 5's a really, really cool golf course, really fun. Kind of is in the condos, but then opens up to a little bit kind of as you get off, into 3, 4, and some good golf holes. Really interestingly enough, so I'm pretty sure the designer there is this guy, Ellis Maples, who has designed a ton of Pinehurst area golf courses and a ton just in kind of the North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky area. And he's kind of known for mimicking Donald Ross. So he was brought into a lot of golf courses in the 60s and 70s, 9-hole Donald Rosses. He was brought in to have the other 9 produce when these 9-hole courses turned into 18-hole golf clubs. So his name is all over the region, and has actually designed a few 36-hole facilities in the Pinehurst area. And it's just funny because I spent Friday in Charlotte and at my uncle's house, and my uncle's a big golfer, and 2 9-hole courses within 15 minutes of them were originally Donald Ross courses, and they have an Ellis Maples back 9 to them. So if you kind of see that name, if you're down in the North and South Carolina area, you're gonna likely be playing a pretty damn good golf course. Someone who's kind of tailored their career over after Donald Ross types of things, has done a really good job, and I'm sure is dead at this point, but definitely has done some good stuff for the game of golf. But after you kind of finished your round at Pinehurst, I know you guys had to get on the road, but is there kind of anything else that what's the thing you're going to do in Pinehurst next time you get down here, whether it's you come down here before I'm done, or or kind of, after that? What's the next thing? What are you itching to get back here and do?
Gosh, that's a tough one. I mean, um, I'd say probably being on property at Mid Pines and Pine Needles again. I played Mid Pines in the fall last time I was down, but like I said, hadn't been over to Pine Needles since college, um, which was now 4 years ago. So I'd say my next trip, I'm having kind of just spend a little bit of time over at Pine Needles. I'm excited to get back there and play it eventually. Um, I know it's one of your favorite courses in the world, and I've only played it once now and don't remember everything about it, but no, it was pretty awesome. So I'd say that's probably one of the biggest things I'm most looking forward to going to be able to do again in Pinehurst. Um, and honestly, the cradle, I'll play the cradle every day for the rest of my life.
It if you're like, I don't know how it works if you're a member there, and if you get like, most golf memberships, your greens fees are part of your membership. Do you get unlimited? Can you just go play the cradle as much as you want if you're a member?
Who knows? That'd be pretty elite. But forgot to tell you this. I don't think I told you this when we stopped over at the Pine Cone on Monday while we were on the Thistle Dew. We were talking to the lady working the Pine Cone. Her name is Sheila, and she was working the Pine Cone when I was down in Pinehurst in the falls. That's how I remembered her. And just talking a little bit about everything and business and whatever. And she was telling us, I don't know if you noticed, it looked like they were getting ready to do some construction work kind of right behind in that area in between the short game practice area and the Pine Cone.
I saw some stakes and some like PVC piping and things like that, but
Yeah,
that was about the
so
extent.
they're gonna build kind of like a permanent bar out there. They're building like a permanent bar and like patio right there with fire pits and bar stools and stuff like that. And it's gonna be like a wraparound bar up there, kind of like right in the middle of everything, with lights. And we're like, this poor woman Sheila, she's never gonna be able to go home. I mean, people are gonna,
I mean,
yeah. If there's a fire pit, I mean, no one's gonna go home.
no, why? I mean, then you either, you keep the pine cone on the side of it if you want to have like an extra outdoor bar there, or you throw the pine cone on the first tee. God forbid you have to like right kind of on the back side of the ranger hut there. That would actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, they need a permanent structure. That bar absolutely kills it. And there's just constant traffic on the cradle from, 10 o'clock in the morning through 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And just people going around there at all times. And I mean, it's a killer part of the year right now here in North Carolina. It's high 50s in the morning and it's 75, 80 during the middle of the day, the majority of days. Like they are absolutely crushed, going 10, 12 hours a day. So yeah, that's going to be awesome to have a bar out there and a permanent structure. And, I think too, it'll be nice to kind of have to have that bar. They'll probably have like some bathrooms and things out there. You could spend a whole afternoon out there just on the short game area, Thistle Dew in the cradle. Like you could spend 6 hours there in a heartbeat doing each of those things, twice or whatever the case may be. And God forbid they got some little appetizers out there and some drinks out of the bar. Like that's a hell of a way to spend an afternoon. So yeah, I mean, classic Erik and classic, just like people in the hospitality industry, just asking like how business is and what's the next move for the organization. And so that's funny you did that, but unsurprising, in the least.
Yeah. It was cool to kind of get that insight of, I mean, I don't think I've seen it anywhere in like a public announcement. They're building this yet. It seems like it's almost a little bit of a surprise. One of those little things that they'll have it built in a couple of months, and they'll announce it when it's finished rather than announce it before they start working on it. So I'm excited to see that in a few months for sure.
Yeah, no, super cool. And it's an epic place, and just, a place that I would push anybody who loves the game of golf or is becoming interested in the game of golf. And I think Evan talked about it a little bit too. Like, what's his wife's name? Sorry, Emily, correct?
Emily. Yeah, Emily.
Yep. So, and Emily was so bummed. She came for lunch and then headed back to Charlottesville, and everyone was giving her the lowdown on everything that's going on. And it's just, for someone like Emily, who's kind of just getting into the game the last few years and really kind of taking it serious, though she works at the golf course, I think anybody with any sort of interest in it and who loves the game or loves being around it or loves just spending time on a property like Pinehurst, there's a place for you. And the Cradle is like place one that you need to go, and you need to spend time and really just like truly get the essence of what Pinehurst is. You get on that kind of back corner of the Cradle property and you look out at the resort kind of over what Gil Hans has created and the building and everything that it is. And it's just, it's a unique place and it's a unique view that you're really not going to get. We have a 5-star resort and they're blasting, 60 and 70s music, and like there's some techno out there, and just like we had some strong sax for a while, and like it's just a unique place, and you don't find that at a 5-star resort. At 200 yards away you can pay $500 for a greens fee, and you're out there with people that aren't wearing shoes playing golf.
Yeah,
pretty cool spot.
Yeah, Pinehurst has done such a freaking good job of making of offering something for everybody. And you can, like you said, you can go to Pinehurst and pay $500 and play that US Open golf course and have that once in a lifetime like experience round of golf, and then walk right around the corner, like you said, take your shoes off, the music is blasting, and play a 700-yard golf course and have some cocktails with 2 clubs. It really is a place that is so approachable to anybody who, like you said, is involved in the game of golf in the littlest aspect or the biggest aspect. And they've made it a place that anyone can go and enjoy on a lot of different budgets too. I mean, like our trip this past weekend, a day and a half, was by no means an expensive trip, and we got really the true Pinehurst resort experience. And talking to people at work before we were going down, like, yeah, me, Adam, and Evan are going down to Pinehurst. The first reaction is always like, oh, like Pinehurst, when people don't really know a lot about it. And you can go to Pinehurst now and really, yeah, like not spend a whole lot of money. You don't have to go out and pay $500 to play around golf. You can walk around the quarter and pay $50 and play the Cradle as many times as you want a day. They've made it a really special place for pretty much anybody to enjoy.
Yeah, definitely a special place. And the first time I had played the Cradle, having only been built a few years ago, and definitely a place that I'm going to spend quite a bit of time here the next 4 weeks or so. Grind on my short game. I'm going to make an ace at some point in the Cradle. I don't know when it's going to come, but at some point, if I go around enough times, my good buddy Derek is coming down to Pinehurst in a couple weeks, and the guy is just a fiend for the game of golf. I think if I told him I wanted to play the Cradle 10 times on Sunday when he's here, he would do it. And he'd play it with like a 8-iron the first time, then a 9, and he'd just play a different club like all the way around the whole time, just play it a different way. And
putter,
he'd grind the first time, hit the putter everywhere. Next time we'd be playing for shots or whatever the case may be. Like, guy's crazy and he loves the game. So I definitely think that's how, we're going to play offsite the first Saturday. I think we're going to play 36 holes at the place that I played on Sunday, the Whispering Pines, country club, the Whispering Pines, and great deal and a really great golf course, two good golf courses right there. But I'm going to try to persuade him. I think Sunday we should just hang out at the resort and play the Cradle a bunch of times and really just kind of enjoy the most relaxing, but also just the truest experience that Pinehurst is. So it was great having you, and lucky enough to have this place for a period of time. And I think I was chatting with you guys about it. I talk about it in the group message all the time. Like, now that I know this rental property exists and that it's relatively cheap to have it, like if we're still working in this remote environment for, continuing moving forward, and I know that's not going to be the case because I think we're on the back end of everything that's going on. But if I have the flexibility in a future life to work remote for a period of time, I might just come to Pinehurst every May, get the same rental property, and just really, enjoy my golfing life to the fullest that it is right now. So it was a pleasure having you guys, and always good to see Evan and Adam, and we'll see you down here in Pinehurst soon. We'll cheers, buddy, and we'll have Matt and Joey hop on here and chat a little, Harbortown Zurich Classic here shortly.
Cheers.
Cheers.